Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I've got some pretty good news, in my opinion. Now, there's a long way to go on this. However, New York State yesterday, surprisingly, I had no idea this was actually up for a vote, didn't know this was going to happen. They decriminalized marijuana in the state. Now, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't exactly mean what you think it does. In other words, you can still get a fine. So it's not like you can just go out and walk around and openly smoke in the streets. Now, I'm not sure whether we want that, just like I'm not so sure that we want people drinking in the streets. Obviously, at certain events, parties, etc., where there are permits, I have no problem with that. It's everywhere, right? Now, the thing is that you can still get a fine, but up to 2 ounces, and we're going to read the entire bill that passed, has now been decriminalized. Great step in the right direction. I'll be honest with you. The way it's been monopolized, it almost works out better to be decriminalized because it will not be taxed and then regulated. Now, I think there should be regulation, but I'm going to show you why in New York State it's already over the top corrupt. So let's start with the good news. And by the way, we're going to play Cuomo playing this and or talking about this, and we'll give credit where credit is due. Good for him. So here we go. Let's read the entire bill. It's extremely short. And I'm glad it is to the point. Now, this is just like a little introduction. This is the bill right here. Now, what I don't like about it is that it frames it in a race-based way. Let me explain something to you. Although this has hit, obviously Latino and black communities much harder, it's really a poverty-based system. So, people like myself in upstate New York, predominantly white areas where I grew up, it was the poorer kids that were caught with marijuana that were getting in trouble, and the richer kids who had prominent parents or lawyers, et cetera, would often get off. It is a cycle. It's more a cycle of poverty, and unfortunately, the way things are set up, especially compressed in the city. Listen, I was just in New York City. Great to visit. I don't know how people live there. Me and my brother went to MSG. Thank you, John Fitch. Amazing tickets for last week's Bellator. And, I'm not even going to talk about on the way in, but on the way out, it was just such a cesspit in places. I hate to call it that, but on top of you drive around like it's a third world country there, we walked by and there was fresh blood all over the sidewalk. And then there were all these napkins. It wasn't even purple yet. Napkins with blood. And it went on it looked like somebody lost a lot of blood. And you're just like, what is going on here? So, great for a visit, great for a short stay. I don't know how they do it. And of course, you're going to have extreme poverty in those types of areas. And when it is, a melting pot, if you will, those projects are very real. So I wanted to start with the good news. I'm trying, guys. But I had to point that out because, again, they make this race-based and it's really poverty-based. The Senate today passed legislation that will address the racial disparities that are present in New York's antiquated marijuana drug laws. New York's existing marijuana laws disproportionately affect the African American and Latinx, is that what it is? Latinx communities as we're talking? Can I just say Latino or no? This monumental legislation will decriminalize small amounts of marijuana and establish procedures for record expungements for both past and future convictions. That's awesome. That's great. In fact, I believe it's going to be anything less than 25 grams, but we're going to go over some of the other details of this. Communities of color have borne the brunt of New York State's marijuana drug laws. See, I would disagree with that. It's just the only because there is concentrated poverty in those areas. It's a poverty disparage. Our justice system directly reflects who we are as a society and is why the Senate majority is taking action to fix this broken system. Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins said the legislation is making a momentous first step in addressing the racial disparities caused by the war on drugs. The Senate majority continues to move forward on full legalization, and I thank Senator Jamal Bailey for his leadership on this issue. And again, I think with legalization, you do have some problems, but look, in my area especially, you guys have, if you've been on the walk and talks, you go down, I've shown you half of those businesses are done. Well, right now, I'm so close to Cooperstown that the 2 largest Little League parks, summer camps, they do like week-long tournaments, are in this area. And there are a ton of parents from California especially that are always, I ran a bar, they're always asking where to get marijuana because it's legal there and it's accepted there. And that would be a huge economy boost here. But we're going to get to how it's already kind of been out-regulated for the little guy, okay? So Jamal Bailey said, in New York State, people of color are disproportionately arrested for marijuana possession. The misdemeanor charge for public view for marijuana possession gives those people a criminal record that will follow them throughout their lives, potentially limiting their access to housing, access to education, affecting their ability to obtain employment, all leading to a potential inability to provide for the families. Now, again, it's not just people of color. It's poor people that got caught with marijuana. Saw a lot of it in upstate New York, even farmers that were doing this on the side who would get caught up. I mean, it's very hard for them because they don't have lawyers. You know, it was the people who did have money behind them that were really able to buck the system. While this legislation falls short of the goal of legalization of adult use cannabis, the ability to create a mechanism for expungement, both retroactively and forward-looking, is a step in the right direction in finally ending the heavy-handed war on drugs that has decimated communities of color. I agree with that. You know, that's absolutely true. So let's just read it. Decriminalization of possession of small amounts of marijuana by reducing the penalty for unlawful possession of marijuana to a violation punishable by a fine. So again, you can't walk around with it smoking Blunskys and Hutch. You can still get a fine. I would say that, you know, you probably couldn't get away with it even streaming it on the internet from this state, proclaiming what it is. You could probably still be fined after the effect. I don't know how the laws work there, but I would say that. Establish procedures for automatic record expungement, both retroactively and for future convictions. And by the way, we're talking upwards of almost 1 million, but we're going to get to that in a moment. Remove criminal penalties since a violation is not a crime for possession of any amount of marijuana under 2 ounces. Fantastic. Fantastic. Reduce the penalty to a $50 fine regardless of criminal history for possession under 1 ounce and a $200 fine regardless of the criminal history for possession between 1 and 2 ounces. Again, I even think that 200 is a bit steep. I think they should have just doubled it and made it 100, but I can live with that for now. I can live with that for now, as long as they're not knocking down doors and saying, you've got 2 ounces of marijuana, here's your fine. And that's not what this is about. Add marijuana to the definition of smoking under the public health law so that smoking marijuana will be prohibited in any circumstance where smoking tobacco is prohibited by law. So again, they don't want you smoking out in the open, but this is a great step in the right direction. And I'm even going to let Cuomo talk. Again, they're going to expunge 900,000 plus arrests. That's amazing. So I'm going to give him credit. He's not a good person, but there are issues that are outside of black and white, my friends.
When it was clear that they didn't have the votes for the legalization, then we went to decriminalization, which is very important. I proposed it in 2013. To me, it was an obvious act of justice because everybody will agree that it's been the black and brown community that has been disproportionately affected by enforcement. Which is a statement on the entire criminal justice system manifested in marijuana, and end the injustice for the black and brown community where you have stereotyped and tarnished people's lives with these convictions. As I said, 6 years I've been trying to get it done.
And they did it. Now, I will say that it does stereotype you. There's still some kind of a stigma about this, that like if you smoke marijuana, you're an idiot, you're a stoner, you can't get things done. First of all, there's many types of marijuana, and just sativa and indica are very different in that one is more of a stimulant and the other one is going to kind of put you to sleep and more relaxing. So people don't even know what they're talking about. Now, the medical benefits of this, if you talk about 2 ounces of, say, concentrated oil, there are, I'm not gonna talk about miracle cures here, but there's many people that claim it benefits a lot of things. And we've already seen research into things like cancer in relation to other medicines where it has had a positive effect. Now, let's get to the business aspect of this. Cannabis is huge right now. In fact, the Motley Fool, which is, largely a financial publication, they're going to sell at least $1 billion in cannabis by 2024. And now imagine the black market, because the black market is actually pretty huge right now. Believe me, you can get stuff mailed to you. I think quarter pounds are going for like, I don't know. No, full pounds are going for like $1,200, $1,300 online, and they'll just ship them right to you at this point. The risk is worth it for these people that have marijuana, that are selling it to dispensaries, but then for some reason, this marijuana isn't graded as well, and they're not allowed to sell it there. Well, what do? You think they're just burning it? They're throwing it away, their crop? Of course not. It's still profitable on the black market. But when I talk about New York and legalization, here's the thing. So here's the actual department. I actually did a little misreporting, underreporting, if you will, while I was doing my walk and talk. I explained to people, just to get a medical license in New York, I've highlighted it so you could say, I said you need to have a $5,000 application fee that was non-refundable no matter what. No, it's $10,000 now. A $10,000 application fee up front to apply, and then also a $200,000 application fee for registration. Now, if you get denied, they give you back the $200,000, but you have to have that liquid cash just to get in the game. This is for medical marijuana dispensaries. You understand that? So this is just to get in the game, $200,000. Now, if you actually get it, but the $10,000 is not. So you're gambling $10,000 whether or not you're going to get approved, and you have to have $210,000 to stake. Now, if you do get it, they take the full $210,000, and that's just how they get the ball rolling. So, this is definitely a case of crony capitalism, and that's what the legal marijuana market is going to be. But again, you're going to overturn 900,000, expunge these things. That's great. That's great news. It's long overdue. It's time to stop the stigma. In my opinion, it is a lot less harmful than alcohol. I've seen alcohol ruin a lot more lives. And I'm not here to promote, drug use or whatever, but let's be honest, we're all adults. If you watch my walk and talk with Truth Stream Media, we went out and had some beers. Oh no. Everything in moderation, guys. To me, this is awesome news. And if you liked me presenting this awesome news, well, I'm doing a lot of videos. If you haven't checked it out, I'm totally on my own. I'm talking about JFK, Tucker, the only one speaking out against the Iranian war, Dershowitz, NXIVM. We got some more NXIVM news. We're probably doing a video on that today. Jimmy Savile. We got a little MMA in there. Word up, John Fitch. Thank you so much for that MSG experience once again. Bryan Singer, Assange. We're doing some movie reviews when I think they get it wrong. Bohemian Grove. The Egyptian president story. That's a big one. Linda Collins Smith and more. So make sure that you join the Burmist Brigade if you're not already here. Subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. But honestly, if you don't get the notifications, just do the little star. We're doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos sometimes a day. And guys, again, I'm on my own. Anything helps. We're more than a fifth of the way there, less than a week in on this thing, and I'm trying to do $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year. I take home $40,000. I'm doing these videos 7 days a week. I'm not left or right. It's about right and wrong. I'm being 100% genuine. If we can do this, not only will you get that 30 to 50 videos a week, but if we can raise more than 5,000, maybe I can go on site. In fact, I just got a tip on this NXIVM speech in the beginning of July I want to go to in New York City. So maybe I'm going to try to make that happen. I'm not sure what the tickets and registrations like, but we'll save that for later. Once again, everybody, I thank you guys so much. Join the Burmist Brigade, and I will see you on the flip side, everybody.